Welcome, 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 everybody. Happy Friday. It's Karen Auha with the Artboss Formula, and it's Friday. I absolutely love Fridays. Do you know why I love Fridays? I love Fridays because every Friday morning I wake up and I go, I get to hang out with my art friends. So thank you so much for hanging out with me during your lunch, and really am just super excited to be into part 2 of the cold to sold strategies. But you know what? I love talking about art, but you know what I love talking about even more? Art business. Do you know why? Because I believe that artists should be able to make a living wage in the art industry. And here's the thing. When we stop avoiding the online market, because it seems like it's too hard to figure out, when we start leaning into the online market and really using the Artboss formula, the framework that allows us to build out our business and our business strategies, we are going to create consistent monthly income. All right. At the Art Boss Academy, the art bosses, they'll tell you this. They're like, you know what? The Art Boss formula is simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy, right? It still takes a lot of work and a lot of time, but here's the reality. This is why it works. When we control the whole entire process, from the creation all the way through the sales, we stop giving away our leads to someone else, because let's face it, we pay for our leads. We either pay with them with our time or our money. And we also are able to know where to put in the gas in the whole formula. Like, where do we need to spend our time and money so that we can consistently create monthly income? So that we have the process that we're inviting people into our sales funnel, which at the Art Boss Formula, we currently use the Facebook group. If you want to know more about why we use it, watch last week's video. We talked about pages versus groups, all right? And then we have nurturing strategies, where it's not just about inviting people in and letting them sit there until we show them something they can purchase. We have to constantly nurture them, and we have to nurture to their problems. We have to show them that we actually solve problems and that we provide a product that solves their problem, okay? And then we create these offer strategies that allows for them to be like, no brainer, this product totally fixes my problem. All right. So when we do all of those steps and then we analyze what's happening as we're doing those steps, then we can make the adjustments we need so that we can continue to have consistent monthly income. In the cold to sold strategies, we are focusing mostly on the invitation strategy. All right. And we will talk about nurturing strategies as well. But here's the thing. All right. I guarantee, newsflash, I guarantee that if you're only selling your art to your family and friends, your revenue stream will eventually plateau or drop off to nothing. All right. It's just it. It's newsflash. It's just the way it is. We have to constantly be inviting people to our sales funnel so that we can nurture them and that we can make sales. Okay. We talked last week about the fact that there are two kinds of traffic. There's organic and paid. Organic are those methods that doesn't cost us money, right? It costs us time. And then there's the paid strategies, which obviously cost us some money and some time, all right? So we talked about the cold strategies last week and what they are, right? This week, I want to dig into when do you need to layer in those paid strategies? Like, how can you look at your business and say, now's the time that I really need to start layering in some paid strategies, all right? So we're gonna go over all of that, and so like, grab your notes, grab your pens and pencils, because we're gonna really hit on some really great topics that will allow for you to move your business from point A to point B, all right? From no sales to consistent monthly income. If you want to elevate your brand, if you want to separate yourself out from your competition, because I guarantee with all the craziness that's happening this spring, summer, and fall, a lot of the competition is going, oh, well, I don't know what to do. If you want to lean into that and claim what is yours, we're going to get there. We're going to get this going. We're going to really break out the whole concept between cold to sold strategies. All right. So let's go ahead and dig in. Give me some fire if you guys are ready to go. When you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments below. Okay. And I will be watching this video stream to make sure that you don't have any questions, but I'm really looking forward to this. All right. So last week, again, we talked about the two kinds of traffic. They're organic and paid. And I want to say, We never want to let go of our organic strategies, especially the ones that are converting and working, all right? We really want to get to the point where our organic strategies are more automated, okay? There are ways to do that. We talk about that inside of the Artboss Academy. How can we automate our organic strategies, right? Because you know what? When we don't have to pay with our credit card, they're great, right? But what ends up happening with organic strategies is we'll hit a point where all the time and work that we're doing is only growing our group by like one and twosies, right? And that's not enough. We need to keep growing our group at a rate that allows for us to continue to meet our revenue goals, okay? So also, we're going to talk about a little bit later. There are organic strategies that when layered in with paid will like blow your mind and it be some of your best traffic strategies ever, right? So I'm saying here, I just want to say it, don't get rid of your organic, but there's going to be a point in your business where you're going to say, I need to start layering in some paid strategies. Within the Artboss Formula, because our sales funnel is considered our Facebook group, the first and primary way that we go into paid strategies is with Facebook ads, all right? We'll talk more about those in part 3 and part 4 of the cold to sold strategies, but I just kind of want to like bring that up, okay? So if we want to continue to grow our revenues, we have to continue to grow our groups, grow our sales funnel, grow our audience, right? We have to do that. Our invitation strategies are the starting point and one of the most important things that we can do to get consistent monthly income, right? So we can only grow so much with organic before we're going to have to start pulling out our credit card and paying for some paid strategies, all right? Here's the thing. When your paid strategies actually pay for themselves, the money that you're spending on them they'll become a non-issue. All right. So if you have to spend $1 in advertising to make $100 in sales, would you do it? Please tell me yes. Please tell me yes. All right. So anyway, I know that a lot of you have probably already hit that ceiling where you're like, I can't get to any more people that I don't know. All right. And I'm not really sure how to go about getting to people that I don't know. I also want to stop. If I haven't said this yet, kudos to you for selling to your friends and family. All right. A lot of artists get stuck into where friends and family expect artwork for free. And we need to, when we show the value of our product, even our friends and family will understand and will actually appreciate it even more when it has a high value. Okay. And when we place a value on it that's more than zero, we're doing ourselves a favor as well as our friends and family. Okay. So, you know, they'll get it. They'll get it. And, you know, just moving your friends and family into the paid zone is a really good thing. So I just want to say kudos to you for doing that. All right. So I want to take some time to share the screen. I'm going to show you a little bit about like the degrees of influence and when you can identify where and when you're going to need to go to a paid strategy. Okay. So I don't know if you guys know about the game called 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? And I don't know, I mean, like it was really big about 10 years ago where you would just be like, oh, this actor's related to Kevin Bacon in so many degrees. Okay. Here's the thing. The power of that game shows the power of networking. All right. And how one person can be at the center and create a whole network, right? And have degrees of influence, okay? So I'm gonna pop over to my Miro board and I'm gonna show you the like basic concept of the degrees of influence and where we go from organic to paid when we start looking for growing our group, okay? So let me go ahead and share the screen. Pop up here and there we go. Okay, here we are. Okay, so I just did a quick little drawing here and basically this is kind of like if you had a rock and you threw it into a pond, it creates that ripple effect, right? So we have degrees of influence. At the very center, that's me, that's you, that's your business, right? So that's this, okay? Then we have our first ring of influence, okay? And so really these are our family and friends. So let's just be realistic. Even if we have a huge family, let's just say we have 10 brothers and sisters, we've got kids, you know, we've got in-laws, we've got aunts and uncles. Let's just say let's just say we have 100 to 200 people in friends and family, right? So we have people, and when I say friends, I'm talking about people who would be willing to go out of their way to promote you for free, right? Those people who are the closest to you, right? I'm not talking about your neighbors and the people that you say hi to in the carpool line and things like that. I'm talking about those people who would be willing to literally sell your art for you, right? So let's just say our first circle of influence, our friends and family, maximum 200 people at max. Like you have a huge family, if like you guys have a huge family, right? And then this next degree of influence, these are going to be the people that you still rub elbows with. Like they probably know your face, they've heard your name before, you know their face or you recognize their name. They're the people in the carpool line that you say hello to. They're the people who you worked with even 25 years ago, right? You may have worked with them a long time ago, but they're those people, right? So this circle of influence is a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, here's the thing about moving these people in these first two rings is pretty easy to move those people into your Facebook group. And so growing to like 100 to 200 people inside of your Facebook group is pretty easy. All right. And they're probably, when nurtured properly, will purchase something from you. All right. Because they're just really interested in what you're doing, okay? So that's where we are right there. Now, everything right now, the circles are black, and it's because organically we can move people there, and we're not having to pay with our money, we're having to pay with our time. Now, this next circle of influence, all right, it's still easier to move this group because they may not have ever met you, but all these people here are recommending you out, right? So these are the people who are like your sister's best friend's mom, right? So like, and they're like, oh yeah, I would love to see what Jenny's sister is doing, right? So this group of people actually is still pretty easy to move to your group, all right? And you can get to them through organic means, and you can get to them and incent them to move to your group so that you can nurture them some more, all right? This is about where you hit the wall, where you can organically, without any paid strategies, start moving people to your group. So that's, if you're there and you're like, I just can't get any further, that is when we need to start looking at cold audiences. So I have a couple different rings of cold audiences because not every cold audience is built the same. They're not all equal. So this group here are a cold audience who may have seen your name or heard about you somewhere. They may have come to an art show and they saw your work and looked at it, right? They may just have seen an ad that you're running, but yet never have acted on an ad or come into your group. So these people right here are still cold because we need to be in people's faces about 7 to 10 times before we're going to break through all of the noise, right? And we have to be in their face 7 to 10 times with the same kind of thing, right? Either the same kind of art or the same kind of collection. So these people are still cold, but they might be like, oh yeah, I've seen that piece of artwork, or oh yeah, I think I've seen this ad before, okay? Then this group here, never seen you, never heard of you. Your messaging has to be spot on to what their problem is. So they're like, yeah, I would love to see more of this person's artwork, okay? And then this group out here, these are cold. And the difference between what's in the red and what's out here, the people in the red zones here, they're most likely art lovers. They're people who would be interested in purchasing artwork in general, right? And then the people out here, it's just not their thing. It's just not their thing, right? So really pulling traffic from out here is A, more difficult, B, more costly. The only people that I would say that are out here you might want to go after are people who are looking for gifts. So potentially like at Christmas time, where they're like, oh, my mother-in-law absolutely loves Christmas paintings. So this person has a Christmas painting that, so we're solving a different problem out here, right? But I just kind of wanted to talk to you about where you are in your business. When you hit this point right here, where you are no longer able to grow your group from people that you know, or the people that you know are promoting you out, right, that group, then you're starting to move into a paid strategy that you're going to need to start investing into. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen. We're just going to kind of start talking about like, okay, so now you get it, you visually can see it. but what are some of the things that are happening in your business when you're like, oh, I think I may have hit that barrier, okay? So the first thing that could happen is, number one, you just want to grow faster. You're like, the number of people I know and the number of people who will network for me and the number of people that I can get to out like to 3 degrees is like just not big enough for me to grow and meet my revenue goals. So you're like, I want big growth and I want to do it now. Okay. So that's number one. I like that strategy. Here's why I like that, because the next ones are because you're in emergency or fixing modes. This mode just means I want to grow, I have revenue goals, and I want to consistently meet them. So this is where I want us to be when we're making our decisions, whether we want to go into paid strategy. Okay. The second thing that's going to happen is potentially you're like, I haven't had any new audience members in a month, in weeks, right? And I'm spending a lot of my time trying to grow my group organically, but you just hit the ceiling. You just don't have any ways to get out to more degrees, right? Again, we're going to talk about when we add paid strategies later on, how organic strategies can start clicking in and producing great results. But if we're just doing organic, we may not have anything to barter with. Okay, so we'll talk about that. And then number 3, you're like going, I haven't made a sale in forever. All of my sales used to be in the like art galleries or art shows. And I don't know about you, but my revenue stream from art shows this fall went away. They're all canceled. So by just shifting and pivoting and putting more gas into my online machine, I was able to make up for any lost summer income from art shows and art galleries. Okay. So you may be at the point where you're like, haven't ever made a sale, or my sales have just cut off to 0 and I need to shift and pivot and I need to invest in the online market, right? So here's the best thing. When we are working in the online market, all right, we are able to control everything from creation, promotion, through sales, all right? And so you may be at the point where you're like going, I want to start making money in the online market. I want to be able to add consistent, not just like seasonal, but consistent monthly income. This is how you do it. This is how you go from beyond making sales to just your friends and family to people who have never heard your name. Okay. So this whole process where we're like inviting, nurturing, making offers, and then analyzing, it's in the analytics where we go, I'm not growing my group fast enough. I need to add a paid strategy. And then we're going to go through the whole cycle again. Okay. So tell me that you'd like to learn more about the cold to sold strategies before you lose your sales, not after. All right. Tell me that's what you want. Okay. So when we start to move forward, all right, we need to remember this. Okay. Newsflash. We have to remember this. We pay for our leads no matter what. We pay for our leads. I talked about this last week in the live. Paid for our leads no matter what. Here's the deal. When we pay for our leads with our time, our money, or both. We can also pay for our leads when we're working in galleries and at art shows and in art licensing. But here's the thing, we pay a percentage of sales or an upfront flat fee in order to do that. All right. So and then in those strategies, a lot of times we don't even walk away with the customer's name. I'm talking about galleries and art licensing agents. I don't know who is buying each one of my pieces. The only time I do is at an art show. I can collect that information, right? And I guarantee this as well, newsflash, it will always be easier to sell another painting to one of your current clients than to a cold audience, 100%. So next week, we're going to be looking at the arrow, right? So cold to sold, right? Cold to sold, there's an arrow in between that, right? We're going to be looking at the arrow, right? So we have to turn our cold audiences, we have to warm them up. We have to warm them up. Otherwise, we're not going to sell to them. All right. It will be lucky when you sell to a cold audience. But if you don't have a cold audience to warm up, you will never be able to meet your revenue goals. Right. So super duper 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 excited to be launching the Artboss Formula Boot Camp. It's a 5-day free boot camp that is coming up on September 14th. That's when it starts. We are going to be talking about the whole formula. We are going to be talking about how to create consistent monthly income by selling your artwork online. That is what it's about. And the last time that we did the Artboss Formula, if you went to that one, thank you so much. Absolutely loved it. We only talked about organic strategies, all right? And organic strategies work. They work. But you'll find a place in your business where you're like, I need to layer in some paid. But we only talked about organic in the last Artboss Formula Bootcamp. This bootcamp, we're going to be talking about organic and paid, because here's what is happening inside of the Artboss Formula. The art bosses are getting to the point where they're moving all of their traffic to their groups, and they have to grow bigger. And the amount of time that they're spending to move traffic is, number one, not providing the number of results that they need. And it's taking up time away from their creation time, all right? So, and again, with paid strategies, we're getting to the place with paid strategies, the money you invest makes you money, all right? It's not just about giving away money to Facebook. Nobody wants, he does not need any more money, all right? He doesn't need any more money. But the reality is you have to pay to play, all right? So that's the fun thing about it. So I told you we were gonna talk about one organic strategy that works really well, where you're not having to pay with the credit card, right? But you are having to still pay with your time. But here's the thing. When you layer in your paid strategies and your group size starts really growing, it starts growing fast, right? And so you go from having, let's just say 100, 500 people to 1,000, 10,000 people in your group. You now have leverage to go out to corporations and companies who have like nice sized groups, right? Nice sized pages, nice sized Instagram, wherever you're nurturing and wherever you're converting, okay? So here's the thing. I do a lot of floral paintings. Because of the size of my Instagram and the growing size of my group, I have something to negotiate with because I've been building it with paid strategies, all right? So when I go to a florist who has, I don't know, 10, 15,000 people that are following them, and I say, let me do a live painting for you where I'm going to paint one of your beautiful floral arrangements. Would you be interested in that? I am providing content for them, engaging, fun content for them, all right? And I'm also saying, and I'll let you into my group to advertise for free, and you can advertise about your flowers, right? It's this really nice synergetic relationship where it's a win-win for everybody. And because you've grown your group to a size that is that is like you have leverage, now your organic strategies really kick in. Now the same amount of work that you're doing inside of your paid, you're doing in your organic, all right? And you're getting huge results. So one of my best strategies so far was partnering with another company where they are like getting a percentage of my sales. Yeah, give away a percentage of the sales in return for access to their audience. And it is like working so amazing. So that, I just want to talk about that. That's why we talk about adding paid strategies. It's not like adding, it's layering. Okay. So super excited to go to the Artboss Formula Bootcamp, again, coming up September 14th, where we're going to talk about the whole entire strategy. And that includes paid and organic. Okay. So the link I'm going to post in here, and you're going to have access to that link. And I'm telling you, just sign up. If you're like, okay, that's a month away, Karen, but how am I going to remember? I'm going to remind you. That's my job. I'm going to remind you. Also, there is training. Remember, there's training every single Friday at noon that we're all of this supplements and adds value and is a part of the Artboss Formula. So, hey, you guys, you have a really great Friday, and I am like excited to get started. I hope they have really great plans for the weekend, and I will see you next Friday, and I look forward to seeing you at the Artboss Formula Bootcamp.